So before I start uh, SQL Server administration part, let me know from your end, Ravi. Am I audible to you, Ravi? Ravi, you can unmute yourself, please. Ravi, can you hear me? Ravi, am I audible to you? Ravi, is my desktop shared with you? Okay. So before I come up with the administration of SQL Server, let me first give you a brief idea on introduction to SQL Server. Yeah. So that's what I just want to confirm from you. If you are aware of SQL Server, if you have idea about SQL Server, then I can directly start with the administration part. I'll just show you what are the responsibilities of database administrator, like what are, and those responsibilities itself is the course content for our, I mean, that will be the syllabus for our course content. So that's what I want you to respond, whether you're audible. I mean, am I audible to you or not? Can you hear me? Ravi Vishwakarma. Right. So whatever the introduction that I come up about SQL Server, it is not in detailed process of, SQL Server. Yeah, Ravi.
Yes, sorry, like I was not able to hear
Yeah.
previously, but now I'm able to hear you proper.
Okay, okay, okay.
And I was saying that yeah, I'm not
Hmm.
aware of this SQL Server.
So you don't know anything about SQL Server.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, okay. Right, right. What are your actual, I mean, are you a working professional?
Mm-hmm. Working professional.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. So you're working as?
uh, working as a system engineer
Okay, okay,
in
okay.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay. So you want to now migrate yourself to administration.
Correct, correct.
Okay. 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 So what is what my point is, because uh, we are not going to study about how to write queries, and we are not going to learn
That
about
is, I'm
uh,
comfortable in that part,
that
like
is what
joins and all, and
uh,
that is.
that is what I was asking you. So you're familiar then.
But like in this is my area. Like last 3 years, I worked in this area only, like Postgres, like trigger
Acha, acha, acha.
function and procedure and all. So I'm
Acha.
comfortable in
You're
this,
comfortable with that. Okay, okay.
but architecture level, abstract level, I'm not aware.
Okay, okay. That we'll cover here. Nothing to worry on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Okay, so we'll do one thing. We'll just have a quick review towards the introduction of SQL Server. Then I'll
Okay.
come up with the responsibilities of administration, DBA. And in that, whatever the systematic step-by-step process I discuss, that itself will be a course content. Okay?
Okay.
Right. So let me just give you a brief overview first about SQL Server. So here what you learn is SQL Server is a product of Microsoft introduced in the year 1989 as a SQL Server 1.0. 1 point. What you can do with SQL Server? Answer is two. First one, we can create and manage databases. One approach. Second is supports all supports BI features. The BI features include SSIS, SSRS, SSAS, integration services, reporting services, analysis services. Then every RDBMS is a collection of two parts. So let me just make you clear. SQL Server is a RDBMS. It is relational database management system that deals with two things actually. One is called non-procedural, second is called procedural. Yeah. Non-procedural is what you call SQL, and procedural is what you call TSQL. This deals with programming, coding. Yeah. Yeah, as you said, no? Procedures, functions, triggers, they all will be a part of procedural. And that select
Okay.
and QL, DML, TCL, those things will be part of non-procedural SQL. And then what you call is here SQL Server obviously supports SQL language. And who developed this SQL language? It is actually a IBM's product. It is. SQL is a IBM product. And plus SQL is a non-procedural language. And then SQL is called common database language since it can understand by every RDBMS. And plus you can say SQL is case insensitive language. Yeah, in any way you write, database understands this. This is like a quick wrap up or a quick review towards understanding some basic points related with SQL Server. And one last conclusion, I would say that SQL Server is provided with one main engine that is called database engine. That I'll discuss in my next part when I come up with types of servers. In that module, I'll explain. Yeah, right. Now, further going with another discussion on this. Here, especially when you talk about, about this procedural part. Yeah, this is kind of whatever I said here. It is about non-procedural things. Now let me give you something related with procedural. T-SQL. Here you have been made available with three types of coding process. Three types. One they call anonymous block, or you can refer as unnamed blocks. Second, they call as named blocks or stored blocks. And third one is you call CLR integration. Three types of coding process you'll have. Three types. And especially the CLR integration is for .NET developers. .NET. For .NET people, it is made available. CLR integration or CLR process has, again, all those things to study. CLR procedures, CLR functions, CLR triggers. You got types in that CLR. And purely that CLR is what you call common language runtime. And another interesting thing is this CLR integration, by default, it is disabled. By default, it is disabled. Yeah, if you are interested, when you want to use it, enable it, use it, disable it. Yeah. Three types of coding process we are going to find. And in this also, remember, under anonymous block programming, here we actually learn basics of programming. Then we learn about something called exception handling. Yeah. And then we learn about cursors. Yeah. Basic things. And under stored block programming, we learn about stored procedures, then stored functions, third, stored triggers. Stored procedures, stored functions, stored triggers. Yeah. Yeah. Under procedures, those all things will come. We got to have SQL divided into three modules. SQL part, embedded SQL, dynamic SQL. All the things will be discussed actually under named blocks, or you can call as stored blocks. Okay, right. This is a kind of procedural things that is designed for SQL Server. And that is all non-procedural things designed for SQL Server. Okay, and those all things will be there. I didn't discuss all of them, but it's only to give you an idea. SQL consists of various sublanguages like, yeah, you got a list here: DQL, DRL, DML, TCL, DDL, DCL. Query or retrieval language, manipulation language, control language, transaction control language, data definition language, data control language. These are your things that are a part of SQL. Yeah. Now, keeping these things in view, let me give you an idea about roles of database administrator. And in that, first, I would focus on installation and configuration of SQL Server. Installation and configuration of what? SQL Server. And in this installation and configuration of SQL Server, something very much important for us is to focus on versions of SQL Server. Yeah. See, why am I talking on this? Generally, developer will have a brief overview about version. But as a DBA, you should know a very clear picture about the versions of SQL Server in comparison to the previous and the latest, so that we are the one who is going to guide the company, or we are the one who makes company comfortable to explain which version of SQL Server will be suitable for so and so project. Yeah, company will ask you the guidelines, company will ask you suggestion, company will ask you detailed information, so that that project which they are trying to deal with the database will be suitable with which version, with which on which configuration. All that stuff you should be in a position to explain. Not only versions is enough, you should have a very clear picture about editions of SQL Server. And even before installation, few things to be done, pre-installation step. Then you should be very clear with installation process. Then you should know after completion of the installation, there are few steps to be done. Installation process may we have all types of installations. One we call unattended installation. Second we call attended installation. And then we call silent installation. Yeah, there are types of installation. So which one we prefer and all is different. Which one we prefer, why we prefer that and all is. But as a DBA, especially till you are hired in a company as a database administrator, compulsory, you should have a very clear picture on the installation process. Once you are hired in any company as a DBA, any one technique we follow, the same, you should be clear and confident. That's it. Not necessary to know all the techniques, not necessary that we'll be doing all the implementations in a regular basis. Not at all. Only we focus in a scenario what is required during the real-time process, and that we do it on our production server. So you should be very careful. So those steps only we focus. Yeah. And then something very important is to focus on server level configuration, then database level configuration, then connection level configuration. Yeah, three types of configuration I will be discussing with various commands, with various built-in procedures, various built-in functions. You can create your own procedures and functions to even deal with those configuration process. Then we learn working with SQL Server databases. From here, we'll enter into full-fledged process of databases. And here we learn first types of databases. Then we learn storage architecture. See, DBA will be aware of all these things. Database administrator. Developer need not know what is happening with the data at physical level, that is in hard disk. Developer only knows that he writes so and so command, he writes so and so command, so and so thing will happen in database. That's it. He's developer will be knowing only this part, but DBA should know internal working process of database, that is storage architecture. Then we deal with transaction processing. Here you should know how internal a transaction works, and how the transaction is going to be managed by various commands and all that stuff, right? And after that, we learn creating and maintaining user databases. Yeah. And then after completion of all these things with practical on this SQL Server databases, then we will begin with security security in SQL Server. And in this security part of SQL Server, we learn how to create Windows logins, how to create SQL Server logins, and then we'll see how to create users, how to work with roles, server roles, custom server roles, database roles, custom database roles. And then we learn about permissions. And then we learn about schemas. Then we learn about auditing. Then we learn about encryption and decryption. And then we learn about transparent data encryption, TDE. And then we learn about policy-based management, yeah, etc. That is how you deal with things related to what? Security in SQL Server. Yeah. And going further on this, what else we discuss is, yeah, this also takes a lot of things to deal with, but everything, nothing will be theory, everything will be practical oriented. So definitely all the points, whatever I say, I just give overview, the topic name, nothing else on it. Overview of what? Topic name. Yeah. And then after we will discuss about disaster recovery planning. And in that we will learn how to take backup, how to recover, and how to restore. Yeah. And after that, we'll see how to have migration of database and server. Fifth one, we talk about, yeah, we discuss few things related with automation tasks. Here we use one tool. The name of the tool is called SQL Server Agent. And in that, I'll discuss how to create jobs, how to create steps, how to go with scheduling, how to work with alerts, how to work with operators, how to work with DB mail, database mail, etc. These things will be part of automation tasks. And after that, we'll discuss about high availability. And in this high availability, we discuss those all things are a practical point. Job, steps, scheduling, when do you need to create an alert, what is the role of operator, what is the role of database mail. We usually go with email process, but for database, you're going to use DB mail. We got something called database mail, how to send, how to get. Those all steps are there. We'll see step by step whenever we go to that particular module. Right? Each responsibility contains some specific task to do. And in that task, you are provided to deal with few activities, few process. The process itself is our topics. And then we study about high availability. This is one of the most important things that we are going to study, that deals with replication, all types of replication. Yeah. One is called snapshot. Second is called transactional. Third is called peer-to-peer. And fourth is called merge. Because replication actually deals with three things. One, publication, distribution, subscription. Based on three servers, based on three databases, we will be in a position to have high availability process for replication. And after that, we'll focus on DB mirroring. Then we'll go with log shipping. Then we study about always on. Then I'll talk about clustering. Yeah. And this high availability features, it is one-time implementation, one-time implementation, forever maintenance, forever. You cannot say that because we implemented successfully that it is going to work always in the same way. No, today you implemented, but there is no guarantee that it will remain to have its implementation or support forever in the same way. Yeah, it may change every time. Time to time, it may change. High availability. Then we will talk about performance monitoring, tuning, and troubleshooting. This deals with troubleshooting errors, then identify performance issues, applying tuning techniques. Yeah, this is also ever learning content. This is especially this part, performance monitoring, tuning, whatever the content I have designed for this performance monitoring, tuning, and troubleshooting. This is based on my experience, my issues that I have come across in my implementations. So those things I have highlighted and made available. That will also give you a very good support in understanding, as well as in covering lot of technical queries, interview based queries, frequently asked queries in interviews connecting with this module. Otherwise, this is such a topic that will always learning process, always, because this is about performance monitoring. So there are many tools through which you are going to monitor about performance regarding the when performance is degraded. You may have n number of factors to degrade, to have that performance to be degraded. Those all things will be considered during that approach. And then finally, things will be available for our usage. And errors when you troubleshoot your errors. In that also, there are many factors that need to be considered during troubleshooting of errors. And when you apply tuning techniques, you have to see that implement whatever things implemented on the server, they should be always considered to be in safer side, so that things may not may be in danger when you apply those techniques. Yeah, latest thing should be available for your usage. Even older things should also be available for your usage. Not like that new things have come that you lost your old things. No, your target should be always in a way that your existing things should work, old things should respond, and newer things which are going to be implemented, they also should have a proper arrangement. Yeah, based on that, I'll be discussing this seventh module. Yeah, these are the responsibilities that you would find of database administrator. And this itself will be the systematic approach for our course content as well. Yeah. Yeah, Ravi, you have anything to ask me? Go ahead.
No, Ahmed,
Yes.
everything is fine.
Uh,
I'm okay with this plan.
uh,
Yeah, please proceed. I'm okay.
yeah. Okay. Chalo, right. Now, going forward on this, we learn about, remember, SQL Server provides two types of environments. One is called standalone environment. And second is what you call clustering environment. Two types: standalone and clustering. And especially when you talk about the standalone environment, you can say like this: standalone. Yeah, here only I'll write so that then and there you can have a comparison. Yeah, helpful for small companies. Yeah, and it has only one production server in standalone. Mm. And then all users will be connected to a single server. Yeah, that is the reason I was saying small companies where they have less, flow of transactions, less, capacity of a database is small, and they have like flow of transactions are less. Limited people are working on a database. Then standalone environment is suitable. Otherwise, they have to move for clustering environment. Suitable for whom? Large companies. Yeah. Right? And it has more than one production server. Here, all users will be made available with common name and common IP address. Hmm. So depends, depends which area of database you're using, and what type of database is the database the database which you're going to use in your company for any project. What is its main task? What it is going to deal with? What are the things that it is going to do on the database? Uh, because once the database comes in action, then it will be focused on a scenario that database will be made available in your non-production environment as well as in a production environment. Because something enters into production environment, then the database becomes live. 24/7 database will be up and running. Database will be up and running. Yes. Yeah. And but point we have here, for example, if you have only one production server available for a standalone environment, then how do you manage business data with that? Because only one production you have. Then for some reason, not necessary that server will be 24 cross, and 7 and 365 days, that will be always available for you. We don't know. It's an electronic device. A 1 minute before it was fine, and 1 minute after, due to some reason or because of some reason, it is not starting. It got some issue at OS. It got some issue at hardware. It has got some issue at SQL server. Then it may fail. That is the reason what they do in real time in standalone environment, especially. They will maintain one. They will maintain one standby server as well, especially in standalone environment. So you'll have one original server and one standby server. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So,
Yesterday also like
hmm.
AWS server, there was some issue, no, with the AWS endpoint it was not
Yes.
able to resolve the DNS and all, so it was went down for a
Yes.
larger amount of time.
Yes. That is the reason why, even in a SQL Server environment also, always it is always made available that that is the reason they don't store data in your normal hard disk. They purchase storage devices because we don't find those hard disk capacity today that can manage your SQL Server database, because SQL Server database can manage data which can be up to petabytes. We have hard disk capacity in terms of terabytes.
Mm-hmm.
So 1024 TB makes 1 PB. And we don't find any
Okay.
hard disks of that capacity. Hardly today we find a hard disk which can be of around 4 TB, 8 TB, or to a certain extent, if you have any new technology, it can go to 16 TB. That is the reason
Correct.
companies will not prefer to store data in these hard disks. They better purchase storage devices, separate storage
Okay.
devices. That is the reason if you are planning, this is for standalone. In order to create a clustering environment of a SQL server, it cannot be created with alone SQL DBA. You alone cannot create a clustering environment. You should have at least 5 categories, 4 to 5 categories of administrators who should be available in order to manage that, a create and clustering environment. Like one among them, one, ourselves, SQL database administrator. We are the one in it. Second, network administrator, because you don't know, no, from one network to another network, when you make a communication channel through cable, what techniques we have. We got some special software to deal with, and what we got some special commands to test process. And then we require, since that we make this clustering environment available on Windows Server operating system. So for Windows Server operating system, since it is a multi-user operating system from Microsoft, so that for that Windows Server, for that Windows Server operating system, they need an administrator of Windows Server. And fourth, since that we are going to manage things in a what do you call in a storage devices, even to deal with the storage devices, you are provided to work with one special administrator who has in-depth knowledge of the working process or all the ways by which the data can be managed by using those storage devices. So for storage devices also, we are made available by one administrator. So you cannot say that clustering environment alone DBA will create. Never, never. Rather, your focus should be on a point that stand-alone environment, it's manageable by us. But when it comes to clustering environment, it is a work of 4 to 5 types of administrators involved. Then clustering setup is created. Do you get that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Tomorrow I'll discuss database implementation life cycle. I better write like life cycle of database implementation. Yeah. Yeah. You have anything to ask on this?
Okay.
Go ahead. If not, we'll wind up this session.